What's a double standard you hate? Employers asking you to stay overtime for hours, and it is not a big deal. But if you're late by even 10 minutes, you get a formal warning and a talking to. This is what made me stop going above and beyond for companies, fresh out of college. And at my first job, I gave 110%. Worked through lunch, worked overtime, etc. I was putting in 55 to 60 hours a week, but I got a severe talking to for being 3 to 5 minutes late a few times that month. I was told that it affects employee morale for others to see me rolling in late. Of course, they didn't have an answer for how it affected morale when most employees got there after me and left before.
Interacting with the government. If you fuck up, that's your problem. If they fuck up, that's your problem too. The way taxes work in my country is that if you don't have any special cases,
they basically send you a summary, and then the amount you either owe them or they owe you. If you owe them, they give you a deadline and a bank account number to wire the money to. 1 year, they owed me. Quite a bit, actually. The paper said the money would be wired to me by some date. I had forgotten about it, but I was a bit strapped for cash after that due date. I checked my balance and saw that the money was never sent to me. Note that this is like 2 months after the deadline. So I called them up. They confirmed the money was not properly sent and said they'd rectify the situation. They told me I would receive the money probably within 2 weeks. If I haven't received it yet in a month, I should probably call them again. I was baffled. I'm pretty sure that if I missed my due date that flagrantly, I wouldn't be offered so much leeway. My father-in-law and a lot of others. He saw a very expensive car with a Ukrainian license plate. He said, "I wanted to tell the driver to leave Germany and get a gun and defend Ukraine instead of living on welfare here." Then I asked him if Germany was attacked by Russia and his son, my brother-in-law, would have the possibility to flee to a safe country. Would he force him to stay and fight? He was damn quiet after that question. I have a few. I hate how it's okay for women to criticize men, and it's seen as female empowerment, yet if a man does it, it's misogyny. I hate how men can sleep about and be promiscuous, and it's seen as a good thing, yet if a man does it, she's dragged through the mud. I hate that it's okay to reject a guy on his height, yet not okay to reject a girl on their weight. I hate that women are criticized for having a career instead of being at home with the kids, but yet if a guy has a career instead of being at home with the kids, he's praised for it. TLNDR, sexism on both sides of the spectrum.
Too many of Reddit who are upset at a boyfriend or husband watching porn or thirst traps and are applauded for not allowing it and breaking up with him over it. Meanwhile, a man who's upset by a girlfriend or wife watching porn, reading smut, using toys, would be considered controlling or abusive. Hell, I've seen women on here mad about her partner liking pics of a woman in a swimsuit or outfits that are sexual
and are agreed with. Left single quotation mark. He's showing you how you views women. So gross. Disrespectful. But if a man was upset about his partner going out dressed in those same outfits or posting pics in them, then he's insecure, controlling, abusive, and those clothes aren't actually even sexual. There's a difference between just using toys and watching porn at a healthy level versus liking thirst traps. Their porn and masturbation are more of a personal sexual exploration thing, whereas thirst traps are you following an account specifically for that, and often people will interact with them too. That's the difference. You can watch a pornoster but never interact with them. It's just about you. But when you move to the Instagram thirst traps and start liking and commenting, it's building a relationship with that person solely around how they look. That will make anyone in a relationship pretty fucking upset. If you don't feel sexually fulfilled with your partner to the point of doing this, do both of you a favor and break up, because that's not what a health-committed relationship is about. That steal thing by men is a crime. But when women do it, as in telling they are on the pill when in reality they are not, just to get pregnant, it is not considered a crime, and they are now legally allowed to financially ruin the father for at least the next 25 years. There is absolutely nothing a man can do about it. Society often frames it like, it's the man that got the woman pregnant, he can wear a condom. No, Karen, if the woman says it's okay 11 minutes on the pill, when she is fact not, that's sneaky and wrong, just like stealing. That's under German law, BT. I know 2 women personally who did this. That's probably why it triggers me so much. One, with a guy from Tinder that happened to be a rich guy. He inherited a lot of houses and apartments. And one with her boyfriend that told her that he hates children and never wants one for himself. The 2 girls are best friends, BT. The Tinder guy was smart though. He is still this. That's cheaper for him. They live in one of his houses. They are not married and never will be. And he makes her pay rent. So he basically now has a cheap housemate, if you will. But it is not like she is financially dependent. She has a well-paid job. She just wants it all.
She always complains about him refusing to marry her because if he dies, she won't get his assets. She also hates being a mother. She drinks a lot. I don't feel bad for her at all, just for the kid. For context, I was never close with her. She is just part of a larger friends group. Cut contact when she was drunk and violently tried to force the BF to break with him, because in a small talk situation, one was asked by her BF if wanted kids and said no. Males being assaulted by females. I am a male manager. I once reprimanded a female staff member. She proceeded to throw multiple glasses and food at me. I never moved once she started to throw things. I was told that what I did could be seen as sexual assault, as I was the only male there. If she quit or was fired because I forced it, I also would be let go. I spoke to my sisters about this once and was told I fatpho, and genuinely scared for my two boys growing up. Are they going to be assaulted and no one believed them? Edit. We were on different sides of a bar and I was good 8 feet away from her. Just talking, never did anything that constitutes being accused of sexual harassment or assault. Over a year later and absolutely flat everything. The ways men and women are treated when dealing with cancer? I had breast cancer, and everything was feminine and pink. I was offered makeovers, given fluffy robes and slippers, encouraged to journal, sent flowers, balloons and cards, all that girly stuff. I met a guy about my age at the cancer center. He was dealing with colorectal cancer. He didn't get the same sympathy or attention. His cancer was more dangerous than mine, but no one sent him flowers. He lost his hair, but wasn't offered a wig consult. No one wanted to talk about butt cancer. We joked that Save the Tasses 2 should be changed to Save All the A-Star Shoals. Executives calling into team meetings from their home office while the rest of us were mandated back into the office 5 days a week. But leadership flaunting the fact that company values and rules don't apply to them really pisses me off. I think my dad finally understands why so many people are burnt out on office jobs when I explain this to him. When I told him the executives were still largely working from home, he looked at me as if I said something crazy. He had trouble believing that an organization could function that way. He was like, so wait, why did they send you all back to the office if they're not in the building? It was like, yes, now you see why we're jaded. The double standards the media and the public hold Republicans to versus Democrats. If Obama was a convicted felon with 5 kids by 3 women, had an affair with a porn star, was friends with Kanye, constantly shitposted impulsively on social media, peddled unhinged conspiracy theories, had a personal cryptocurrency that he took bribes with, got a $400 million jet from the Qataris, incited riots against government buildings, said John McCain is only a war hero because he got captured, and routinely used profanity in public. Needless to say, he would never have had a chance of being president. This is the most grievous one of our era in the US. Said John McCain isn't a war hero because he was captured. And I still don't know how that wasn't the end of his campaign. A huge part of that is media. A lot of the big media conglomerates are owned by right-leaning boards and CEOs. It's no surprise that we've been accustomed to this because narcissistic heads just care about money and success. Left-leaning leadership is often more tame and not as aggressive as their counterpart. That's the underlying issue that spans decades, not wanting kids. If a man doesn't want children, he is just living the life he wants. If a woman doesn't want kids, it's unnatural and makes her less of a woman. It's brutal, and people rarely respect a woman's right to choose. And men's decision to not have children is always respected, whereas women are constantly told, you'll change your mind, or what if your husband wants kids? Or, God forbid a woman knows what she wants. My husband wanted a vasectomy at 26, told his doc, and within 3 months, it was all done. He even got 2 weeks off from work. I've been asking for a partial hysterectomy since I was 20 or so. Fibroids, PCOS, adenomyosis, plus I take medication for other health issues that can cause birth defects. I need an IUD for hormone replacement therapy. Every single time I ask, it's always, are you sure you don't want any more kids? Have you talked this over with your husband? Husband's fixed. I've never gotten pregnant. I have a birth control implant. Not to mention I'm over 40. When can I have my turn? Whenever my husband experiences a medical issue, the doctor listens to him intently, and the treatment plan is suggested. Whenever I experience a medical issue, the doctor explains a lot of young women are stressed and nervous, and sends me home. Where does your husband go to the doctor? As a man, I'd love to switch there. I get the same treatment as you. Anytime I've gone, I'm made to feel like I'm wasting their time, because my head isn't falling off this second. I went last year for a lump on my nut. Took me months to build up the courage. Then the doctor was barely interested in feeling for it. It was small and often hard to locate. She tried to boot me out the door saying there's no lump. When I tried to push back with "there definitely is," I got an eye roll and a sarcastic, "Well, if you're that worried, I'll write you an imaging referral." I was almost in tears on the way out. All we ever hear is, "If you feel a lump, get checked immediately." Then you do, and you're made to feel like you're an idiot. I think everyone should be allowed to defend themselves from anyone. If a man assaults a woman physically, sexually, and the woman defends herself, she's praised. If a woman assaults a man in the same way, and the man defends himself, he's in the wrong. That's just not right. Everyone should have the right to defend themselves. This a million times I never understood how female self-defense was praised. But the second a man does the same exact shit, he's a wife beater and a misogynist. And suddenly every guy in a 10-mile radius wants to best the guy up. I've seen videos of guys obviously defending himself from female attackers, and there's still people saying they should never lay hands on a woman regardless. It baffles and infuriates me that JS, because we're men, we JS have to allow women to hit us without consequences. Anybody should be able to use reasonable force to defend themselves. Some men believe that if a woman who is half their size shoves them and causes no physical harm, they should be allowed to put her in the hospital. Some even talk about it as if they fantasize about having an excuse for disproportionate violence. I'm a female, but I hate how when women are abused, it's a crime. But if men are abused, it's funny or justified. How? Abuse is abuse. It's not okay in either situation. I also dislike how it's looked over when a man abandons a child. But if a woman does it, she is heavily shamed. No parent should abandon their child. Disturbing fact: New Zealand only fully criminalized female-on-male sex crimes in May 25. Before then, it was completely legal for an adult woman to have sex with a boy of any age, provided it was consensual and he wasn't her brother or son. Cue public outrage when a 21-year-old swimming coach found that loophole and had sex with a boy, 13-year-old boy. Men can take their shirts off in the summer when it gets hot outside, but women can't because boobs. But the woman can happily show the entirety of the actual boob, the part that's different, as long as she covers the nipple, aka the part we both have. I'm a woman, but I have no nipples. Yay cancer, but I have some gnarly scars and tattoos to cover some of them. I used to be self-conscious about my foobies. Now I just don't care. I'll sit at the lake topless to get sun on my back. I walk the beach boardwalk in the Free the Nipple event. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to assert my sexuality and tempt your husband or son. I want people to see what cancer does, actually physically does, to a woman. Next to a school near where I live, there is a stadium for the public. Has a 400-meter circle for running. Inside, there is area for basketball and soccer, which hasn't been renovated since it was built during Soviet times. It isn't uncommon for people to walk circles and push their baby carriages. I take jogs, runs, and sprints there, and the amount of women pushing their baby carriages that make random comments is absurd. Anywhere from calling me lazy, since I am out of breath after 12 minutes of jogging, complimenting my body, I am a man, or my favorite, boy, if you didn't smoke, you wouldn't be out of breath. I don't smoke. She looked to be 30 with a pregnant stomach, while I am in my early 20s. Next time I passed her and her friend, around same age as her, they started loudly discussing how men these days are out of breath after a few minutes of jogging, and how embarrassing. If I did that to any women doing the same thing, I would be called a pervert. The fact girls and women are held to a much higher standard in terms of expectations than boys and men are, especially in school. When I was in school, boys got praised for doing the bigger path, absolute bare minimum, both work-wise and behavioral-wise. The boys would constantly have 1 star of the week for going 1 day without behaving like a pret, whereas it was just expected of the girls to behave well like that at all times. I was a tomboy and had quite a boyish sense of humor. I got in trouble for things that boys did regularly with no consequence. For example, when I was about 13, one waved my hockey stick pretending it was a penis. Mature, I know. I am Mao and got screamed and had put in detention, whereas the boys did shit like that all the time and the teachers just laughed. I work in a school myself now and make a point of holding both genders to the same standard and dishing out equal praise, rather than just expecting the girls to behave perfectly and work hard at all time, whilst the boys don't have to. A man who goes to work, comes home and helps with kids and house duties is doing the bare minimum, according to Reddit. But a woman who works, helps with the kids and house duties is treated like Superwoman. She needs a vacation right now, and her husband is assumed to not be doing enough to help. I don't think a man who does that would be judged negatively at all. I think he would actually get lots of praise. I think the complaints are for the relationship where both work all day, but the husband gets to come home and relax and, okay, video games, while the wife comes home and cooks dinner, tends to the kids, and does house chores. And there's couples where the man is doing everything the woman contributes nothing to.
Those relationships are lopsided, unfair, and will breed resentment. The type of man you're describing is doing great. There are definitely worse double standards, but one that I always really wonder about. So why is it that when a woman in professional kitchens are so looked down upon in that industry, it is getting better at least? Because it's man's work. Okay, even if we accept that misogyny, please explain to me why women are expected to do all of the household cooking traditionally. Why is cooking a woman's job until you get paid for it? Well, I know why. Because they don't want to pay women for anything and think they should be home caring for their kids while churning them out every year. It's still an insanely weird double standard to me. Because I'd see women in kitchens get treated worse than men in kitchens, even in the most progressive settings imaginable. The gender double standards against men. Men are allowed and encouraged to objectify us, but if we look in their general direction for a millisecond too long, it's an instant SA charge. When a man is a victim of domestic, the police don't care, the court don't care, and society will kick us while we're already down, and the harshest consequence, our closest friends distance away from us. In custody battles, when the mother is clearly unfit to raise the children, she still wins custody. When we're harassed or touched without our consent, it's always taken as a joke, and there is nothing we can do about it whatsoever. In often cases when we reject a woman's unwanted advances, we're the ones that get reported for it. If we bring our own child to the park as a single dad and supervise, watch them play, we're given dirty looks, and sometimes the police is even called on us, out of concern. Now, I'm not here to argue against the fact that women have it hard in this world. They do have it hard, and I am in no way invalidating that. But I wish that when men found themselves as the victim in these situations too, that society took it just as seriously. Because sometimes being a man is more difficult than what the surface tells you. And the fact that society expects us to not have any feelings or insecurities makes it even more difficult. Employers that waste the applicant's time but don't want their time wasted. Only job interview I've ever walked out of was after the receptionist kept telling me it'd just be a few more minutes, etc. When I finally got in there and saw the same fuckers who'd walked out past me discussing where to get lunch, then come back an hour later, I immediately told them I wasn't interested in working anywhere that showed such blatant disrespect for others' time. I didn't super need the job at the time, and I just could not understand how anybody would be so blatantly rude. I guess they were expecting me to just take it, but fuck that noise. Transparency and ethics expectations for staff, but not management. So this is petty compared to most mentioned. If I have to cancel an appointment less than 24 hours before, I am automatically charged a fine, regardless of the reason. It could be a medical emergency, car troubles, etc. Does not matter. If an appointment is canceled for me, for whatever reason, 24 hours or less before said appointment, there are absolutely no repercussions for that company or individual. Hi, I'd like to reschedule my appointment for a later date. Yes, that works. Now we'd like to cancel it. Thank you for your time. Edit, literally my first ever award. Thank you. US Congress is immune to insider trading laws. This is so bad that there are websites that track their stock holdings and what they buy or sell so others know where to invest. I'm still livid that they sold all their stocks before shutting the country down in 2020. My thesis was about that type of trading as a predictor back in the 90s, but I couldn't get live enough data to be able to use it to make predictions.
Thank you for watching. Write comments, put likes. Do not forget to watching other videos.